Mr. Bernal, he's a bully, he's a cancer. Mr. Beckmeyer did not run the city. Gopi still pushed all the buttons and made all the moves. Mr. Beckmeyer fully and completely believed that he was hired for his political connections and nothing else, because he's never really made a difference there other than being the face, and it's corrupt, and it's not. Odessa deserves better than that.
That was Chris Adams. He used to be Odessa's Director of City Services, but he was fired by the Lame Duck City Council this week. Today, despite investigations into his own duties and work performance, he spoke with First Alert 7 about his claims the city of Odessa is mismanaged and lacks transparency. First Alert 7's Isabella Garriga spoke with Adams. She reports.
There's numerous stories online where people have blown the whistle on things and then they get terminated just like I did. So hence the reason that I finally let it air out after I was terminated, because it's just not right.
Adams says that former city manager John Beckmeyer and deputy city manager Agapito Bernal were heavily involved in the way he did his job.
You really couldn't do your job the way you wanted to do it. You were directed in how you did it. We're a municipal government, so therefore we have policies and procedures set in place by the state. And with the deputy city manager and the city manager, in addition to the city attorney, they wanted us to do things that weren't exactly correct.
Adams admits when he was hired in 2023, he was new to municipal operations and initially unaware of purchasing laws that the city took advantage of. In one specific instance, he says by separating the orders, city vehicles were bought without the council's approval.
My department was directed by the deputy city manager, the city attorney, and the city manager to circumvent having to go in front of council, and namely Councilman Thompson.
Adams also claimed that city leaders attempted to influence vendor selection, favoring Forrest Brothers over Southern Tire Mart.
Brought me into the office and said, hey, the tire bid's getting ready to come out. We want Forrest Brothers to win the bid. You need to do whatever it takes, magic number, whatever, explain to them, what they have to do to get the bid.
Another grievance involved the sister city agreement and the city's annual auction, where the city sells vehicles they can no longer maintain to fund the city equipment budget. Adams says that though the Odessa Fire Department wanted and was in need of some of the vehicles, they were sold to Mexico.
Basically, Gopi showed up at the same time and walked them through every vehicle we had, said just take your pick, let me know what you want. They literally drove it off the lot.
Fearing retaliation, Adams hesitated to report these practices, but ultimately filed a formal grievance on October 14th.
In the grievance, I put in, the items that I had issues with, and then 4 days later, that's when I started getting pelted. I feel like once I made the claim, I provided proof of the claim or claims, then I was retaliated against.
Adams claims that he has documentation supporting his allegations of city mismanagement and is calling for independent oversight into the city and into the allegations of misconduct against him and other employees. When we asked the city about Adams, they provided a statement that said, quote, "Given the circumstances of these allegations and the ongoing investigation on Chris Adams, the city cannot comment."
Adams says he enjoys his job, loves his team, and wants the very best for them. He hopes to come back under new Mayor-elect Cal Hendrick and other newly elected leaders. For the full details on this story, you can visit our website, firstalert7.com. And Odessa police are still looking for this missing person, 35-year-old Benito Hernandez Jr. He went out around 9 o'clock last night, and he's about 6'2" and weighs approximately 250 pounds. Anyone with information is encouraged to call Odessa Crime Stoppers at 333-TIPS. Turning to an update now out of Jal, New Mexico. You've heard that evidence of 10 to 20 human skulls were found at a property there. The Lee County Sheriff's Office has the person of interest, Cecil Villanueva, in custody on a charge that's unrelated to the bones found at the property he was staying at. Investigators are still figuring out if the bones were brought online and if the fragments can be full skulls or just partial fragments. The Sheriff's Office says the only link to this case and Angela McMain's disappearance is that she lived near the property. We're going to take a pause now and talk your weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Tom Tieferteller. Tom?
Yeah, we have enjoyed a nice day across the area. Look at these temperatures warming up a little bit across the area, but still very comfortable. Topped out into the low 70s across the Permian Basin. But look at down towards Monahans, Pecos, up in the upper 70s. 81 degrees was one of the warm spots this afternoon in and around Fort Stockton. Looking at the Spring City over in Howard County, we're seeing a quiet evening. 56, a little on the cool side there, and out towards the Miller National Air and Spaceport. And also down in those mountain areas, again, a little chilly this evening as winds have lightened up quite a bit. Still a hint gusty down towards the Fort Stockton area, so that's only adding to the chill that's out there. And your hourly temperatures into the overnight hours, we're going to drop down into the mid 40s. We should be held up a little bit because of southerly winds that are going to become a little gusty towards morning. So warmer days are ahead before the big change this weekend. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Tom. Recently, Christmas in Action Midland partnered with Heroes for Humanity and the Anglican Relief and Disaster Fund, to help those affected by Hurricane Helene rebuilding. As of today, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services confirmed that there are 102 verified storm-related deaths. After hearing about this destruction, a group of local Midlanders and families made the 20-hour drive to North Carolina to help with the disaster relief.
We were able to work with different families and individuals in those areas and help get their houses kind of patched up where we could, provide heat, fix structural problems, and all kinds of tasks that we worked on. And we even connected with some of the local grassroots groups that are giving out resources and materials.
Knowles and his crew spent over a week in North Carolina giving back to the community. And it's the season of giving. With that comes philanthropic efforts, and today those efforts were celebrated. This afternoon, the Permian Basin chapter of Associate of Fundraising Professionals held the 30th annual National Philanthropy Day luncheon at the Permian Petroleum Club in Midland. The event is held to celebrate the spirit of generosity and community giving within the Permian Basin.
So philanthropy is usually defined as the giving of time, treasure, or talent. And as you know, the Permian Basin has thousands of nonprofits. We have all kinds of causes that are important to us. And we feel like it's important to honor the people who are helping move those causes along, especially for organizations that just depend on kind of that philanthropy every year.
They also recognized past recipients who've inspired others through their contributions throughout the years. In Midland, students at Parker Elementary learned about how the city works with nonprofits to fight hunger in the Permian Basin. Local officials John Burkholder, Amy Burks, Robin Poole, and Stephen Vieja came together to share the important message.
Today we had Nathan Ivey with the Midland Soup Kitchen invite us to Parker Elementary to come and talk about how not only nonprofits benefit the community, but how the city of Midland can work with nonprofits and we can all work together and make this community better.
Representatives from the Midland Soup Kitchen also attended. Midland Legacy High School senior Jade Almendarez made a perfect score on her Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery exam. That's a major accomplishment achieved by less than 1% of testers in the entire United States Armed Forces. The exam tests knowledge of math, science, reading, writing, and automotive. After moving to the United States when she was just 11 and adjusting to living in a new country, Jade decided that she wanted to follow in the footsteps of her family, who also served in the U.S. military.
Tell me, don't give up. Like, you can do it. Like, she told me, when you go in it, you're going to cry and all that stuff, but you need to be hard and don't give up and just do it. Do it. If you're tired or something, just don't think about that. Just do it.
Jade's graduating early in December and has made the decision to join the U.S. Navy. And Governor Greg Abbott has extended the law prohibiting the increase of undergraduate tuition and fees in the state for the next 2 years. West Texas A&M University is directly affected by this law and says it has been a struggle. Paige Stockton from our sister station KFDA has more.
President Walter Windler says that enrollment has been relatively flat in the last few years due to the population not growing.
If somebody asks me, I'll tell them I wish we could raise tuition a little bit because inflation has choked us. But if we can't, we can't. And I could cry about that, but I'm not going to because it won't change anything.
Since they are not able to raise tuition with the law, they are trying to add incentives to make it a more attractive university for students.
We're trying to do things that are attractive to students to help grow the enrollment, like the no cost to students textbooks in the core curriculum classes.
Governor Abbott said Texans face significant rising costs due to inflation. When inflation and other economic pressures burden household budget, our public universities must take every step possible to ease the financial burden on our students and their families.
We have been tightening our belt, and we're going to continue to tighten it, and we're going to have to make hard choices, I think, in the coming months about how to deal with inflation and the opportunity or the requirement or the desire that we have to keep our costs in line so students do not leave with cumbersome debt.
Windler says that no matter how hard they try, this will affect some programs and services on campus.
President Windler says the challenge is balancing keeping costs down for students, but also being able to run a university. And tomorrow, Senior Life Midland, Midland County Sheriff's Office, and the United Way of Midland are training people on intellectual and developmental disabilities at the Midland County Horseshoe. Tomorrow's training is free and goes from 9 a.m. to noon. The IDD training is directed towards first responders, community leaders, and those who work with people with disabilities. Also happening tomorrow, it's Odessa Recycles Day. Keep Odessa Beautiful and the City of Odessa are asking people to bring water bottles, milk jugs, detergent jugs, electronics, aluminum cans, shipping, cardboard boxes, all to the Odessa Recycling Center at 816 West 42nd Street. You can drop those things off anytime between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. And if you need any documents shredded, that's also happening there from 9 a.m. to noon. And the second annual Buck and K Bull Bash is this Saturday. After a successful first year, the bash has moved locations and added new activities for West Texas to enjoy. Last year, the bash drew in over 1,000 people, and after seeing reactions from the community at the event and receiving phone calls after it, organizers knew that they had to bring it back. Last year, it was held on someone's personal property, but now, because of increasing interest, the event's being held at the Horseshoe Arena, or the Horse Arena at the Ector County Coliseum. With the added space, the Bull Bash has been able to add 25 vendors to the event, and it's a feature that they didn't have last year. Vendor spots are completely full, but bull riders and sponsors still have the opportunity to join in on the event.
Bull riders, they're welcome to walk up. We're going to take 35 the day of, and we're also going to do a costume steer riding. We're only taking 10 entries. Anybody can enter in that. There's a buckle, and one of our vendors actually donated a hand-tooled book that is going to be given to the best dressed.
Tickets to the event only cost $10, and they'll be sold at the gate on Saturday. Kids 8 and under are free to get in, and doors open at 5 p.m. Bull riding starts at 7. Coming up, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is President-elect Donald Trump's pick to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. More on that announcement coming up next. President-elect Donald Trump has announced his pick for Secretary for Health and Human Services, and that's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. But he's considered a controversial pick for his stances on vaccines and other medical matters. Our Washington correspondent Stetson Miller has more.
Donald Trump is promising to make America great and healthy again by nominating Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to head up the Department of Health and Human Services. Over the course of his run for the White House, Robert F. Kennedy called Donald Trump everything from a terrible president to a sociopath. But now it appears all is forgiven following Kennedy's endorsement of Trump. And the president-elect now wants him to join his cabinet. Kennedy is the son of Robert F. Kennedy, brother of President John F. Kennedy and Senator Ted Kennedy. Originally an environmental attorney, he's made headlines for his skepticism about the safety of vaccines. But Trump says in a social media post, Kennedy will restore these agencies to the traditions of gold standard scientific research and beacons of transparency to end the chronic disease epidemic. And like Trump's other nominees, RFK Jr. is likely to face an uphill battle for his confirmation to convince senators he has the right prescriptions to tackle American public health. In Washington, I'm Stetson Miller.
Well, we are going to be looking at some changes with a cold front this weekend. We're going to talk more about that coming up next.
Now, from the First Alert 7 Weather Center, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Tiefertiller.
Well, we have looked at a nice day really across the area. Things are going to get a little cool overnight tonight, but more nice days on the way until Sunday. Now, here's what's going on. We're seeing on the weather makers, big ridge of high pressure in control of our weather. That's moving off to the east a little bit. We have this stretched out area of low pressure that's going to develop a storm system across the Pacific Southwest and the Southwest U.S., and that's going to move across with the possibility of rain showers and a cold front. It looks like coming up on Sunday. So in the meantime, though, we're going to be looking at relatively quiet conditions out there. It's what we have across the state. There's not a lot happening, even cloud-wise, across the state this afternoon into this evening out there, as temperatures again were very nice across most areas. A good dose of lower humidity levels moving in across central portions of the state. San Antonio at 79 degrees, 75 in El Paso. So we saw great conditions for playoff football this evening. 73 where we topped out at the Miller National Air and Spaceport today. Now taking a look at these winds. They're going to kick up a little bit towards the early morning hours, so that's going to keep temperatures up just a notch and warm things up tomorrow afternoon into the mid to upper 70s, it looks like, once again across the area. And they could be a little gusty at times, especially coming up tomorrow evening, so that'd make things just a hint chilly for area football games once again on Friday evening. We'll move the clock ahead towards Saturday. We're going to start off with some blustery conditions and then look for a bit of a change coming up in our forecast on Sunday. Rest of tonight, those temperatures will be into the mid to upper 40s. Again, the southeast winds will become a little gusty towards morning, and they'll stay gusty tomorrow afternoon, especially across the Trans-Pecos into the Permian Basin. So that's going to help push temperatures up all the way into the upper 80s down across the Fort Stockton area tomorrow afternoon. First Alert 7 10-day forecast showing changes with that front. We're going to hold off until Sunday, and then we'll see rain showers, cooler temperatures in the forecast, and start the week off cool as the rain clears out on Monday. But this is just going to open the door to more in the way of cold air intrusions from Canada, and that is going to drop temperatures quite a bit. Could see our first freeze of the season coming up Thursday morning across the Permian Basin.
Up next here at 9, we're talking about a store in Austin that provides a unique shopping experience. We'll tell you why up next. Have you ever wondered what happens to all of the things that are surrendered at TSA airport checkpoints? From knives to corkscrews to power tools, luggage, and jewelry. It's all shipped to the Texas State Surplus Store in Austin and resold. And surrendered TSA items aren't the only thing that's sold there. You can find a variety of items on sale, from retired state assets like desk chairs, office supplies, power cords, power tools, artwork, lottery, ball machines, confiscated slot machines, and even vehicles.
We have a lot of first-time car buyers. We have a lot of second vehicle buyers. We have a lot of farm buyers that want a truck for the ranch. So really there's just a huge range of customers for this type of vehicle. Hundreds of vehicles are sold a year, and mainly through an online auction.
But the Surpluses store's top item are knives, and most sell for just $1, but can cost hundreds, even thousands of dollars. So next time you're in Austin and want a unique shopping experience, take some time to visit the Texas State Surplus store. Still ahead, we have exciting news for anyone that flies out of Midlands Airport. We'll tell you about a recent repair up next. All right, Tom, good news for Midland travelers. The revolving doors at Midland International Air and Spaceport are fixed, finally. The city announced the repair with a video posted to Facebook, and Midlanders seem to be really excited. The post garnered over 200 likes and reactions, and the really good news, this is not the only thing that's going to be changing at Midland International Air and Spaceport. They've got tons of upgrades that are happening soon. We've got all of those upgrades up on our website. You can search Midland International Air and Spaceport. We've done tons of stories on it. Lots of good things.
Yeah, the way that airport's used, it needs some upgrades.
It absolutely does. And the revolving doors are just a great thing to be. I mean, it's also a fantastic video. That's the City of Midland's Public Information Officer right there, who's a great actor with that, and it's just great.
It's always nice when they fix the doors to the airport.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway. That's absolutely needed.
Well, let's switch to some fall weather. Looking a little warm here next couple of days before the big change happens with that cold front arriving on Sunday. Maybe some rain, but cooler temperatures on the way.
Goodness. Thanks for joining us for First Alert 7 News at 9. We've got more news coming up.